we had a couple of positions targeted, but the quarterback position kind of takes a little bit of precedent, and went with Justin today.
Just overall, what do you like? What do you like about Justin? What does he bring as a quarterback?
Well, he brings us a lot. I think his combination of his physical skills, his style of how he plays, and his makeup is just really intriguing to us. He's a big, fast, dual threat quarterback with still plenty of room to grow, and we really love his quarterback intangibles, his quarterback makeup, his leadership skills, his toughness, his mental toughness, being able to handle adversity, especially as a quarterback. He would have some games where, and all players have this and teams have this, you may have a bad first quarter, you may have a bad series, you may have a bad half, and come back in the second half and he put the team on his back and won some games that way. So it just shows the resolve that he has. And obviously being on the West Coast and a Pac-12 player is someone that we've had a lot of exposure to, especially as a four-year starter. So we've seen a lot of them, like his skills, like his traits, and like his makeup. So these are players you'd like to work with.
All right, Jason Hirschhorn, you're up.
Hey, Tom, as you were waiting on the clock earlier in the first round, was there any concern on your part that Justin Herbert wasn't going to make it to your pick?
When you get to this point, I mean, thousands of things go through your head. And we had talks with different teams in front of us and behind us, actually, but nothing really made sense for us. But we just felt at our pick, we would be able to sit and still acquire a player that we really like, and still leave us with some ammunition that we end up using to go up in the back end of the first round and take Kenneth Murray. So then, this was a very, very rewarding day for us. A lot of work from a lot of people to add two players like this. Everyone's pretty excited. I mean, I look tired and sound tired, but everybody's excited.
And then a quick follow-up. How did you, when you were looking at Justin Herbert, how did he compare favorably and maybe not as favorably to the other quarterbacks that went early in the first round?
I mean, I don't know how you want me to answer that. Like I said before, I mean, he has the physical skills that we really like. The fact that he's big, strong, and fast. He can pull it and run with it if he has to, and he can throw it. And we think there's still a lot of growth there too. But the big thing is he has those physical traits, but he has just the great work ethic and drive to be a great player, and to get better and improve. So we just think that total package was something that we were really intrigued by.
Kurt Sandoval, you're up.
Hey, Tom, congratulations.
Hey, thank you.
A lot of people, okay, maybe just me, but I think some people could say with the number 6 pick, it wouldn't have surprised with who you already have at quarterback, that you could have said, we'll get a quarterback later and got one of those great offensive linemen or another need. What was it about Herbert that you said, no, we're not going to do that?
Yeah, those are the discussions you have, especially the weeks leading up to the draft and going through different scenarios of who could be there, and depending on who you take, who it could affect you taking later on. You don't pick 6 very, very often. Hopefully we never pick 6 again. I know as a general manager, you pick 6 too many times. It'd be somebody else making these picks. So when you're up there and you have the chance to take a quarterback that you think down the road could be a possible franchise type quarterback, especially with the type of makeup and the physical skills he has. I mean, it's someone that is hard to pass. Like quarterbacks are very difficult to find. It's a very difficult position to play. And we think he's got a lot of attributes that have, a chance for really positive success here.
And that's my follow-up. You're a face-to-face guy. You obviously saw him at the Combine. There's going to be a lot of pressure on this young man that he's going to be the new face of the franchise. What was it in your face-to-face dealings with him that you knew he could handle that?
Yeah, I'm not – he has a great head on his shoulders, and I'm not so concerned about him being the face of the franchise. He's a rookie player who plays a very high-profile position. I get that. He's a quarterback. But we also have 2 quarterbacks here right now that we're happy with. So there's no pressure on Justin to walk in day one. And we're not asking him to come in and carry this football team whatsoever. Just asking him to come in, start competing, start learning, and we'll take it from there. So, certainly not asking him to be the face of the franchise. That's not what we'd ask him to do. And it's something I wouldn't even have to tell him. I think he's got great maturity. It's one of the things that's helpful when you're a 4-year starter in college. So he's been through the ups, been through the downs. it just seems like he's been brought up the right way from his family. He's been coached very well at Oregon. So, those are all traits and attributes that he'll need at this level.
Thanks, Tom.
Joe Reedy.
Hey Tom, we know that you scouted Justin for the USC game. Did you see him at the Rose Bowl also?
I did, yeah, and we had numerous scouts see him throughout his whole career as well. So yeah, there's a lot of exposure to Justin. Well, I mean, for our scouts, they have exposure to everybody. Just like I said, when you're a 4-year starter, we've seen a lot of Justin over the years.
But it seemed like it seems like both those games that you saw him this year was kind of maybe a complete body of work, because he had the good accuracy game against USC, and then Wisconsin, not as great passing wise, but like you said, he took the team on his shoulder and got to win by any way he had to with the 3 TDs running.
Yeah, there's different ways to win, and he showed that. He can move the team, he can put points up in different ways. In the USC game, he finished strong in that game and had a great second half. In the Rose Bowl, he just did a lot of different things to move his football team. He doesn't turn the ball over very often, and he puts points on the board. So, like I said, there's a lot there to work with them. We're excited about it.
Thanks.
Gilbert Manzano, you're up.
Yeah, Tom, just to clarify, is the plan still for Tyrod Taylor to be the starter and Justin to kind of learn, or is it an open competition?
Well, there's always competition, but, I think when you look at where we are right now and where everything stands, I mean, I think Coach has said it. I think, Tyrod's in the driver's seat, but, you would never tell anybody that there's no competition. There's always going to be competition. We'll see once we get on the grass, whenever that happens, we'll go from there.
And one more for me, Tom. Herbert running a lot in that Rose Bowl game with 3 touchdowns. Do you expect him to run a lot often in the NFL, or how do you kind of go about that with his speed?
It's a good tool to have, especially when you're 6'6", 240, to be also fast and pretty athletic. So, a chance to move the pocket with him, and a chance to, if nothing's there, maybe go pick up 8-10 yards on the ground. It's part of his game. And it's part of his game that we like.
Fernando Ramirez.
Hey, Tom. When it comes to Kenneth Murray, what made you guys decide to trade away 37 and 71 and jump up to get him?
Yeah, it takes a lot to do that. As a personnel staff, it's you hold on to your picks. You'd like more picks, but he's a player that was just a premium player for us. Someone we had rated very high, and we just think he fits our defense to a T. He's long, he's fast, and he's physical. And, he plays with a really violent mentality. I mean, you can just kind of feel him on the field with the presence that he plays with. He's another 3-year starter. He's a captain there. He has great leadership qualities. And I think as he grows and matures, he'll be a leader here at some point down the road. Really, really well coached at Oklahoma, both by his defensive coordinator and head coach. And he is a player. Our scouting staff, our coaching staff, our head coach, really, really excited about. I mean, this is the guy that everyone was pounding the table on for weeks on end. So we felt like when he got to a certain point, it gave us that opportunity to go up and be aggressive and get him, fully knowing that we gave up a 3rd-round pick to do it. But we felt like that he was worth that.
Omar Ruiz.
Hey, Tom, congratulations on the night.
Thank you.
He told us a funny story, Justin did, about when, he was getting, meeting with the Chargers. He messed up a formation in one of the packets that you guys had sent him. What do you guys recall from your perspective on that anecdote he shared?
Yeah, I did hear that story. He was on with Shane Steichen and Rip Shearer, and I know Rip had mentioned that I don't know exactly the whole story at this point, but Rip had mentioned that the kid seemed like he felt so bad that he missed something. I don't know what it was, but he does have a bit of a perfectionist personality, which is good to have, I think. He wants to get everything right all the time, which we all do. So, but he's very competitive, and he wants to get everything right. And these meetings, when you sit down with offensive coordinators and quarterback coaches for different teams, you're looking at different terminology, different philosophies, and it's hard work. These interviews are really difficult work especially for quarterbacks, especially doing it the way we do it this year when we're doing everything over Zoom. So it's funny. Our Shane and Rip thought he handled it just fine. Just really handled it like a pro and handled it very well. So I can't remember exactly what the story was, but certainly didn't bother us.
And my follow-up is, when did you guys decide in this process that he was worthy of that number 6 pick?
Well, he's someone that shoot during the fall we thought was one of the top players in the country. So it wasn't like something that happened overnight.
Cool. Thank you.
No problem.
All right, Lindsay Theory, you're up.
Omar just got my question about the formation. But Tom, there's been a lot of discussion. Justin is maybe an introvert. Just personality-wise, what traits do you like about him as a leader? And if he is introverted, do you think an introvert can also be a good leader?
First of all, I'm not a psychologist, so I don't know introvert, extrovert very well. But I just want every player we have to be themselves. I don't, whatever their personalities are, I just want them to be the best version of themselves. And no matter what your personality is, you can lead. And we've seen him lead. I've seen him lead on the field with my own eyes. Our scouts have seen him lead on the field. We've seen him lead in practice. We've met with them. Saw a lot of them at the Senior Bowl where he's around all different players they hadn't played with before and watched those players follow him. So, I love his makeup. I think he's got great mental toughness and great resolve, which if you're going to play this position in this league, you have to have. More so than a strong arm and size and speed and all that. You got to have mental toughness, great resolve, be able to handle adversity, handle everything that goes along with being a quarterback in this league. And I think he has all that. So, I love his personality.
And just to follow up on Kenneth, he said he was just completely surprised that you guys traded up and that when your number came in, it was like an Indianapolis area code. So he had no idea.
That's my phone. Yeah.
Yeah. Just from your perspective, what did it sound like, when you had that call with him?
It's funny. So they're both great leaders. I think Justin was a 3-year captain at Oregon, maybe. Kenneth was a 2-year captain at Oklahoma, but two totally different personalities, as you've probably seen on the if you've talked with both of them already. Kenneth is just much more. I don't know if he's outgoing, but he's got that defensive personality. But we just think he fits really well with what we do. I mean, the tape is pretty easy to watch, to see how explosive and how fast, how much range he has, and how he'd fit with our defense with Gus. And we just think he has some of those attributes that he can be down the road. We don't ask kids at his age to come in here and lead this football team. He's going to come in and follow for a little bit, but kind of learn how we do things, and then hopefully he'll see his career blossom as he gets older.
Pop, you're back up.
You mentioned a couple times that Kenneth fits really well with the defense, what Gus is trying to do. Where exactly do you see him fitting in? Is he a will, or do you feel like he mentioned his versatility? Do you feel like he can play multiple spots?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think he could play any of the spots that we would ask him to. So, whenever we get on the field, hopefully as soon as possible, we'll see where everything shakes out.
One follow-up, you had a couple linebackers falling there in the first round, Patrick Queen, along with Kenneth. Why did you guys like Kenneth more than Patrick Queen?
Well, I'm not going to go into comparing players that we took and didn't take. So that doesn't, there's no winners when you do that. Our draft board may be different than other teams' draft board, maybe different than your draft board. It's just the way that it is. But like I said, I don't know what else to say more about Kenneth Murray. It's just, he's one of those guys that between scouting staff and coaching staff, there was 100% buy-in to add him to this football team.
Just one final one. You guys are obviously out a second and third round pick now. Do you see yourself trying to trade back in, dealing a player for a pick? Do you see that as a possibility? I
mean, you never know. We're not out a second round pick because we just used it in the first round. So we're really out just a third round pick. But potentially tomorrow could be a long day watching 60 plus players come off the board, and be a lot of players that we like. But you never know. It's not like we're going to take tomorrow off, put it that way.
Thanks.
Next up, Katya Castrena.
Hi, Tom. You mentioned, or you were talking about the leadership skills of both players, but what were some of the intangibles that you liked the most on both Justin and Kenneth that fit into where the team is going in the direction that you guys want?
I guess with Kenneth, he just kind of has one of those magnetic personalities. It's almost like he's built to play defense. So, I think that helps, especially the position he plays and the style he plays with. So just feels like we feel like he's going to fit in very well with our guys on defense. And I mentioned already with Justin, the intangibles and the makeup that a quarterback has is so important. And it's difficult to grade as a scout to grade things from the neck up. It really is. So it takes a lot of evaluation, a lot of talking with people, and we think he has those traits, and that's why we're, one of the reasons why we're excited to have him.
Joe Reedy, next up.
Tom, you've been in the league for a while, and Oregon's had some top 10 picks at quarterback that really haven't transitioned well to the league. What is it about Justin that makes you guys think that maybe he can break that per se Oregon jinx?
Well, I really see no correlation between a player who plays for a school right now versus players that played there, 2 or 3 or 10 or 15 years ago. So there's just no correlation there at all. He's played with a great football program, very good head coach there, just an excellent program. And, as a 4-year starter there, and he's got, a lot of snaps under his belt, but still has a lot of room to grow too. So we think there's a lot there. But I just don't see any correlation between him and any other quarterbacks that have been there.
And then just a follow-up, with the draft being done virtually and everything, were you surprised with kind of how quick it went? I think by the time the Bengals were on the clock till it ended, it was right around 4 hours, and there really weren't a lot of trades.
You know what? I kind of lost track. I mean, the first round, I even think TV will delay the picks a little bit so they have time to talk. So maybe it could have gone faster. I don't even know. I lose track of the time during the draft. But yeah, it went by fast for me. I mean, it seemed like right after we picked, we're already looking at just to kind of see where Kenneth Murray could go. And if he doesn't go, about where in that first round would be a good spot we could take a shot at it. So, but I will say overall, the whole draft process, at least from our end, it was smooth. We had no issues on our end. Internet worked, computers worked, video conferencing worked, phone line worked. So, yeah, that was, we didn't know going in, but everything went smooth. Still wish we had the faces in the room. It's just kind of strange making a draft pick with nobody here, like no coach here and no ownership or anybody. So it's, or even the assistant coaches. Because when you make a pick, usually everyone's so excited about it, but there's no one here to celebrate with besides my family, which is fun. That was fun to celebrate with the family, but it's just a lot different, so, no, I think overall seemed like from what I saw on TV and what we did on this side, it went pretty smooth.
So the Baron Allworth jersey wasn't giving you high fives either?
No, he's a moose though. He's not a bear.
I was going to say.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, the Derwin James jersey that they sent is a little snug on him. Little snug.
All right, one more question, guys. 2 more, last 2. Jim, you just got in under the gun here. We'll start with James.
Tom, can you speak to just the background research that you do into a player like Justin as far as reaching out to Oregon coaches, high school coaches? I know he worked at the Manning Academy, roommates. Can you speak to just all the people that you might speak to as an organization and what might have stuck with you in the course of those conversations?
Well, I can tell you, for all these players, not just the first round picks, you're talking about multiple scouts that are going into the school and talking to coaches and talking to, any personnel there that's willing to talk to you. And part of having your scouts in one area for a long time, they usually have good contacts. As you go into the school year after year after year, and you build up your contact list. But you're talking about multiple scouts going into the school, and then Justin played in the Senior Bowl, and there's a lot of exposure there, both on the field during practice and then with meetings at the Senior Bowl. I know we met with him at the Senior Bowl, met with him at the Combine again, and like I said, this is multiple scouts doing this, and then our coaches meet with them. both at the combine and then, this year through Zoom interviews. Yeah, you do as much background as you can on all of these players to try and put a picture together of, what this player is and does he fit for us or not. And it's not always an easy puzzle to put together. There are no perfect players. It doesn't matter where you're taken, what year it is. All players have their strengths. They all have their weaknesses. And but you try and find the players that best fit your culture, number one, and then your scheme, number two. And, we thought the two players today really fit both of those very well.
And he talked about how he's been working on footwork because he hasn't operated under center here at Oregon. And obviously that goes back to, again, in the summer, he worked a lot with Peyton at the Manning Academy on that. He worked with John Beck on that throughout this whole pre-draft process. What do you guys see as far as mechanically some of the things he has to work on? Because he's very forthright, whether it's the footwork or the front shoulder getting loose or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, it's I don't want to call it a challenge, but it's an adjustment for almost every college quarterback, because most of them were in the shotgun in high school, shotgun in college mostly. And then, so getting under center is just a little bit different. Not so much, I should probably ask him. Sometimes it's not always the footwork, it's the eyes. Because your eyes are a little bit different from coming under center rather than when you're in shotgun. But the also good part is in the NFL, we do run a lot of shotguns. So that will be no adjustment for him or for any quarterback that comes in here. But yeah, I think under center, probably a little bit of adjustment, but he's smart. He's a great athlete. He's got great feet. So that's the least of our worries.
And last thing I had, Tom, was in evaluating the quarterbacks a lot in this draft. I'm not asking you to compare him to others, but in assessing the film of these players, there were other first-round quarterbacks who had a lot of NFL talent around them in terms of skilled position players. And one thing that he hasn't had over the course of his career is a lot of that at the receiver position. How did that go into the evaluation process? If you look at guys that have 3 or 4 first-round picks and you look at a guy who has 2 converted defensive backs, there's a big difference there.
I honestly wouldn't sell those guys short. I saw Oregon a good amount this year. They won a lot of games, went to the Rose Bowl, won the Rose Bowl. I thought they had some good running backs. I think they have some receivers that are talented. Are they first-round draft picks? Maybe not a first-round pick, but those guys are pretty good players. They recruit extremely well at Oregon. And they're one of the best offensive lines in the country this past year and a really good coaching staff. So, yeah, that to me, that didn't really play into, I know Alabama has 3, big-time receivers, and LSU has their receivers. I get all that, but there were some good players at Oregon too that he's played with through his whole career. So that really play into it for us.
Thank you very much.
All right, and the last question of the evening, Jim Alexander.
Kind of building on what you were saying about the fact that a guy plays a lot of shotgun and now he comes into the NFL and he's got to do more under center. The fact that the preparation time that you're going to have in the next month or so, you don't know if you're going to have it. How does that affect his transition? Does it make it a little more difficult if he isn't able to get in right away and start working on the field?
Yeah, so I'm not so much concerned about the under the center and shotgun, but just overall, if the rookies are not available to come in for off-season work and not just rookies but veterans, if they're not able to be here, it's gonna make the transition a little more difficult for all these young players coming in. So, but that's the atmosphere we're in right now. That's the climate we're in, and we're just gonna make it work like everybody else. Every team in this league has the same issue with their players they're drafting this year, is that we don't know what our practice schedule is going to be like this offseason. We just don't know. So I do think it's important that when we're drafting these players and signing players after the draft, they better be really internally motivated, because if they're working out by themselves without us there, they're gonna have to push themselves, not only with their physical workouts, lifting and running, but with the playbook. There's only so many Zoom meetings we can do with these players through the course of a day. So we need players that really love what they do. And the 2 players we took today, they love ball, they love football, they love to play, they love to learn. So, and we're going to need more players like this year, because this is just a unique year. We know we're going to play football at some point. None of us really know when right now. So we need these guys to be doing a lot of work on their own, and we're going to have some trust in them as well.